Welcome, we're glad to have you again. This guide is about the triple attribute stacking Bow Miner Inquisitor. It's an elemental damage critical strike Inquisitor with righteous providence and divine judgment, so most players have at least heard of this type of build. This arrangement is however exceptionally unique, as it uses Tornado Shot, cast via mines. The reason for using a bow attack is the ability to harness the power of the poised prism quiver and add tons of flat elemental damage of all types to attacks by stacking all three attributes. You will combine it with Widowhail Bow to magnify this effect. The reason for using mines, other than their high damage without the need to invest in attack speed, is the existence of the Curtain Call Helmet. It makes you throw 2 additional mines after you get enough dexterity and intelligence. It more or less triples your mine damage. This triple stacking archetype is complemented by Shaper's Touch Gloves and Cyclopean Coil Belt, which were designed with exactly these types of builds in mind. As an Inquisitor, you will also benefit from high intelligence and strength, and receive tons of critical strike chance. Tornado Shot is the skill that makes a lot of sense in this configuration, because its single target damage scales up well with additional projectiles. It's simply one of the best bow attacks. It can be replaced with the Ice Shot of Penetration. Try both to see which one suits you better. The build relies on maximum life, spell suppression chance, and evasion rating to stay alive. Evasion is gained from the Grace Aura and unique gloves. Spell suppression is gathered from Magebane. It also has a quite high maximum energy shield, but low armor and physical damage reduction. Clear speed is good, better than most mine builds, but not as good as Exsanguinate Miner. Single target damage is excellent, and you can scale it up really high depending on your items. Rings, amulet, and a good Widowhail can be expensive, but you can replace them with cheap substitutes. The build uses a lot of unique items, so gearing up is rather easy. Some of them are very cheap and you should corrupt them in such cases. Other uniques like Widowhail or Eyes of Great Wolf might be a bit more expensive if you want ones with desirable rolls and stats. With enough intelligence and dexterity, Curtain Call causes you to throw 2 additional mines, tripling your effective mine throwing speed. It also increases detonation speed, but reduces mine throwing speed. Most of your damage is sourced from a unique quiver, making Widowhail Bow the best option. The bonuses have to be increased by at least 200%, but the 250% Widowhail is even better. Equip the Poised Prism for tons of elemental resistances and added damage of all elemental types. These stats will be magnified thanks to the bow. Sakawal's Nest grants more attributes than any rare armor, increases mana reservation efficiency, has high evasion, energy shield, lightning resistance, and doubles the effect of Aspect of the Avian. You're stacking all 3 attributes, making Shaper's Touch Gloves the best. Use for accuracy, life, mana, energy shield, and evasion. Cyclopean Coil is yet another great item for such a build. It increases damage by 5% per the lowest attribute, which should result in around 200% increased damage. Aim for the 15% increased attributes roll. Astromentus fits a budget version of the build and grants a lot of attributes but nothing else. Try to get a copy of Eyes of the Great Wolf with increased attributes and increased critical strike multiplier. It would be the best in-slot amulet. 2 split personality jewels socketed in a cluster jewel near Eldritch Battery should grant you additional strength, intelligence, or dexterity. A Thread of Hope with a large ring socketed near Fervor Notable will let you allocate multi-shot, piercing shots with a small node near it, Master Fletcher, King of the Hill, Primeval Force, One with Nature, and Quick Step. Unnatural Instinct can be combined with the Parandus Pact to gain a lot of additional attributes. Socket it near the Shaper Notable. The Parandus Pact shall cause nearby passives to grant you additional attributes. Socket it near the Sentinel Notable so that its radius overlaps with that of the Unnatural Instinct. Your only rare items are 2 rings, jewels, and a pair of boots. There you will need mostly attributes. Usually, Inquisitors want strength and intelligence for more crit chance. In this case, you also need dexterity because of the Curtain Call, Shaper's Touch, Cyclopean Coil, and the Poised Prism. Around 1,000 of each of the 3 attributes should be achievable. You won't need any elemental penetration. Boots shall provide you with movement speed, maximum life, and a lot of attributes. Resistances will probably be needed too. The aspect of the avian can be crafted here. It's a suffix. For the Eldritch mods, get increased action speed and cooldown recovery rate for travel skills. Attributes and resistances are the most important stats on your rings. You will need a lot of both. Experimented bases such as Helical Ring or Cogwork Ring could be extremely potent, as the only prefix you need here is maximum life. Jewels, here, seek attributes of all types, increased maximum life, and some kind of offensive prefix if you can afford it. A big bow cluster jewel with 12 passives, each with increased effect and each granting you some attribute and resistance is preferable. You will need only one large cluster jewel. Guerrilla Tactics and Expert Sabotage are the notables to look for on trap and mine-oriented medium cluster jewels, which you will have 2 of. Dying Sun is used mainly for the 2 additional projectiles, which increases your tornado shot damage. You shall also implement Life Flask with Bleed Immunity, Jade, Diamond, and Quicksilver Flasks. Their suffixes will increase your crit chance, evasion, and reduce the effect of shock or curses on you. Tornado Shot is simply one of the best bow attacks, good for clearing and against single targets alike. Hook it up to high impact mine, charge mines, trap and mine damage, elemental damage with attacks, and increase critical damage support gems. Enemies ensnared with ensnaring arrows take increased projectile damage, and their movement speed is reduced per each ensnare, stacking up to 3. Frenzy of Onslaught grants onslaught on hit for 1 second per frenzy charge that has been consumed by it. Link these 2 with Mana-Forged arrows, you will fire them automatically, in the same setup socket Sniper's Mark. Marked enemies take increased projectile damage, and the arrows colliding with them split on impact. Link it with Cast on Critical Strike and Life Tap support gems. Dread Banner is used only to reduce nearby enemies' accuracy rating, making you more likely to evade their attacks. It could be replaced with Precision if you need more crit chance or accuracy. Grace adds and increases the evasion rating. Skitterbots chill and shock enemies. They grant more mine damage and detonate mines, which are then rearmed. Link these 3 mana reserving spells with Enlighten. Instant spells linked to automation are triggered automatically. These are Steel Skin, a guard spell that stops bleeding and absorbs a portion of incoming hit damage, and Detonate Mine skill, which detonates mines 5 times a second. Enemy trapped with Bear Trap is locked in place for 4 seconds. It will take up to 25% increased mine damage while affected by the trap. Battle Mage's Cry is used mainly to cause increases and reductions to spell damage to apply to attack damage. Your spell damage is increased thanks to Iron Will. It can be replaced with Enduring Cry if you prefer life regeneration and endurance charges. Link it with Call to Arms either way. Dash is the ability that's used to dash, very useful. Link it with Second Wind support. Aspect of the Avian cycles between Avian Might for an additional chance of dealing double damage, and Avian Flight for increased movement speed. These effects are twice as effective with Sakawal's Nest. You have to craft this skill onto one of your rare items. Kill all the bandits in Act 2, you will need these extra skill points. Brine King should be your major god. It grants freeze immunity, reduces the effect of chill on you, and prevents getting stunned multiple times in a row. The Soul of Aberath is quite likely the best minor god, reduces ignite duration and grants burning ground immunity. On the passive skill tree, you will grab Utmost Swiftness and Utmost Intellect notables. In the bottom left corner, you will find bow and projectile nodes, and going up from there, mine damage. You will also need Point Blank, Iron Will, Mage Bane, and Ghost Dance keystones. These requirements make for a bizarre skill tree. Allocate 2 attribute masteries for 5% increased attributes and 1% increased damage per 5 of your lowest attribute, 2 life masteries for 50 extra life and conditional 15% increased maximum life, mine mastery so that each mine applies 2% increased damage taken to enemies near it, and projectile mastery for 1% increased projectile damage per 16 dexterity. Thank you for watching. Like the video and subscribe to the channel. Bye.